Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Emily Pelly, and I am the Publications Coordinator for Ratio Christi Canada. And today we are talking about the booklets that have been published by Ratio Christi Press. Ratio Christi Press puts out fantastic resources for university students and for you, all about different apologetics topics that are pertinent to our culture today. So today I have with me Dr. Paul Copan. Dr. Copan is the author of the booklet, Is Relativism Absolutely True? So welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
I appreciate it, Emily. Thanks. Good to be with you.
So can you just take a moment and introduce yourself? Tell us what you're up to.
Sure. Yeah, I teach at Palm Beach Atlantic University in the MA Philosophy of Religion program, and I've been teaching here for 21 years now. And it's been a great opportunity to train people who are going into campus ministries like Ratio Christi, and also going on into PhD programs and going into academia. So it's really a thrill to be part of what you all are doing, and feel a strong kinship and appreciation for the ministry that you have.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Okay, well, let's get started. We'd like to talk a little bit about your booklet. So can you tell us, how do you define relativism in terms of truth and morality?
Right. The idea of relativism, you think of something that is maybe absolute or objective, as opposed to that which is relative, something that's relative to me or to my culture, or a certain other grouping. But when we talk about something that is relative to when it comes to truth, the idea of relativism has to do with something that is true for you, but not for me, that you have your truth, I have my truth, and that truth is not something that is independent of me or other human minds. It is dependent upon human minds, human feelings, perhaps. But when it comes to morality is merely like what you do in Rome, with the Romans, is not necessarily what you do when you're not visiting Rome. That morality is something that is subject to a particular grouping or a culture. It's not something that is objectively true, that is true independent of the culture. Think of Nazism. What if everyone believed Nazism to be true? Well, that would not make Nazism right. In fact, everyone would be believing false moral beliefs. So morality is not something that is merely relative to this or that culture. It kind of, one of the ironic twists is that when it comes to truth or morality, the relativist can never be wrong. They just say, this is just my truth, this is just my morality, as opposed to things that are right or wrong, true or false, that are independent of what I think about it, what my culture thinks about it, and so forth.
Right. That's so interesting. Okay, so in this booklet, you make that connection between relativism and tolerance. Can you unpack that a little bit for us?
Yeah, it's interesting that for the relativist, the cardinal virtue, the supreme virtue, is that of tolerance, that people who are relativists will often get upset if you claim that something is true for everyone, that there are such things as moral absolutes or objective moral truths, that this is, and that sounds intolerant. And of course, the idea of tolerance has something negative built into it. Tolerance doesn't mean, as the relativist assumes it does, you accept all views as true. If you accepted all views as true, then you'd have to accept the Buddhist view that God doesn't exist and the Christian view that God does exist. So again, obviously, you're going to be landing in all sorts of confused, contradictory thinking. True tolerance is actually that which puts up with what one takes to be disagreeable or false. So I can disagree with someone and show tolerance. I don't have to kill someone who disagrees with me. I don't have to jail someone who disagrees with me, or hate someone who disagrees with me. But tolerance puts up with what we take to be disagreeable or false. It means I don't have to celebrate something. We love chocolate or the music of Bach, and we celebrate those things. Tolerance has to do something with more like people's general reaction to Brussels sprouts or liver. They may be served it and they may eat it, but it's not as though they enjoy it or something. They put up with it. And so we may put up with what we take to be disagreeable or false. That is, I give a person the right to think differently than I do. That is true tolerance. It's not the tolerance that the relativist says is of accepting all views as true, because if you do that, you will actually be embracing all sorts of contradictory beliefs.
Right. And you see that so much, that call for tolerance in our culture today, but at the root of it is this relativist idea that if you're making an absolute claim of truth, you are wrong.
Exactly. And that's the irony, is that the relativist says this is true for you or right for you, but not for me. But if you are intolerant, then which they take to be wrong for everyone, the relativists do, that this is bad, that you shouldn't do this. So relativism actually smuggles in its own moral truths, its own objective moral values, that you should never be intolerant. You should never judge someone. You ought always to accept everyone's beliefs as true. And if you don't, then you are wrong or you're a bad person or whatever.
Right, right. Okay, so what would you want every follower of Christ to know about relativism?
Well, relativism is a pernicious belief system that fundamentally removes all moral standards, all standards of truth, and that if you are a Christian, you recognize that we have fallen short of a moral standard, that we have violated a moral law that exists. But for the relativist, there is no moral law. There is nothing that you've fallen short of, maybe except your own individual, standard that you've set for yourself, but nothing that is true for all people. And so there is ultimately no room for repentance to get things right with God. There's no, basically there's no evangelism either. You're sharing just what is your own truth. You're sharing what you think is right. But there's so many other possibilities. There are other people who have their own perspective, their own particular preferences, and so forth. Who are you to say that someone else is wrong? And so the Christian, sees that relativism actually, fundamentally undercuts what the Christian faith is all about. That there is a God, that there is truth, that there is a moral standard that we have fallen short of, and so we really see these as fundamentally at odds with one another. And so it's important for us to be able to articulate responses to relativism in order to make room for the reality of a gospel that challenges us to revise our understanding of our own approach to the truth, our own approach to morality, if we're relativists, to recognize that we're all accountable to God, that every mouth is going to be silenced and the whole world is held accountable to God. So these are some of the ramifications of the gospel in contrast to relativism.
Thank you for articulating that so well. I think that is so important. The truth of the gospel is not relative. It is for all of us. That's beautiful. Okay, so can you tell us a bit about what you are working on right now?
Sure. I am working on a Two Views book on hell with InterVarsity IVP Academic, co-editing that with Christopher Date, and also working on a contribution to a book on the moral argument for God's existence. And I've written on the problem of evil in light of the moral argument. Does the problem of evil undercut the moral argument? So that's going to be coming out with Oxford University Press, co-edited by David Baggett and John Hare. And then just recently came out with a book called Christianity Contested, which deals with some of the most contentious questions that Christians have to face. And so I did 2 chapters in that book, one on the Old Testament warfare issue and another one on servitude issue, the claims of genocide and slavery in the Bible. So I'm tackling those challenges head on in that book. So Christianity Contested replies to Christianity's to Christian replies to Christianity's toughest objections. So anyway, that's the sort of thing that I've been working on, and have a few other projects, including updating my biblical ethics book that I've co-authored with someone.
Right. Okay. And so these books are available on your website
Yeah,
or where was?
website, and also you can check out Amazon, and look at my authors page. You can see the various books that I've been working on.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Copan, for your time. So, is relativism absolutely true? This booklet is available at press.ratiochristi.org. And if you are in Canada, you can order it from press.ratiochristi.ca. So, thank you so much for your time and have a great day.